Hello, my name is Tanis, and I have referenced some of the illustrations from this book, Anatomy Trains, Thomas M. Myers. I'll be talking about lines within your body and what they do for your posture and movement functionability. So we'll start with the superficial back line. So the superficial back line, it runs on the back of your body, as you can see from this illustration. It is actually not one continuous line. It breaks up into two different sections, a left and a right, to control the different sides of your body. It starts down here and works its way up. So it starts down in the phalanges, and then it goes up to the calcaneus, and it's also connected to the Achilles tendon. We also have, it's connected to the femur, and then the hamstrings are the muscle connected to that. Then we go up into the sacrum, and we work our way up into the erector spinae, and we keep going up into the occipital ridge and up into the frontal bone. And the purpose of the superficial back line is to support the body in a full upright extension. It also uses slow twitch muscle fibers, and it also creates extension and hyperextension, with the exception of the flexion in the knee and down. The SBL is a little bit tricky when it comes to the knee. It helps to do a flexion motion instead of an extension, which is the opposite of all the other joints. In human development, we are born in a flex position, and as we develop the strength and competence and balance in the SBL, you learn to walk and you learn to stabilize yourself. So that was a pretty fun fact that I learned. You can also train your superficial back line and the muscles within it to be stronger and have more flexibility. And a good stretch for that is the downward dog. Just do a demonstration of that. And as you can see, this will stretch everything from the bottom all the way up and all the way down up into the hand area as well, in front. Okay, so the superficial front line is basically, it works against and in association, I guess. They're polar opposites of each other. So the superficial back line and the superficial front line. So as you can see, this one runs in the front. They're actually connected at the bottom, but they do not work together. They work against each other. So the creation of this is for the flexion movement. Again, it follows all the way up, just like the superficial back line. It provides tensile support to the top to lift those parts of the skeleton which extend forward of the gravity line. So the pubis, the rib cage, and also the face. The movements associated with this are, they create a flexion in the trunk, an extension in the knee, a dorsiflexion of the foot, and also they consist of fast twitch muscle fibers because they have sudden flexion movements that occur within this. And a exercise that's really good for this one is the warrior pose. And it stretches out everything in the front all the way down. And then next in line is the lateral line. So posterior balance in the front and the back. There's also a picture for this guy, it might be more helpful. So this runs from the base all the way up again to the back of the neck, and it creates bilateral balance left and right as well. So if you look at a picture, it'll crisscross on the front and the back, and it also mediates forces among the other superficial lines. stabilizer. It also stabilizes the trunk and legs. And the movements associated with this are the abduction of the hip, the extension of the foot, the lateral flexion of the trunk, and also creating a lateral bend in the body. And moving on, the spiral line is exactly how it sounds. It creates a spiral line in your body. This works its way up again from the bottom, goes up and across into the ribs and all the way up to the frontal bone. And this also connects the foot arches with the pelvic angle. The movements created with this create and mediate oblique spirals and rotations in the body. And in the eccentric and the isometric contractions to steady the trunk and leg to keep it from folding into rotational collapse. Okay, the back and front, the myofascial lines, the back and front, the functional lines. These are actually pretty unique. They have strong postural stabilizing functions, especially in things like yoga, or things that you wouldn't typically use the same muscles for. They're less frequent and they can be used to provide stability or counterbalance for the work of the lower limbs, such as football kicks. The movements are associated with this, or they give it extra power. They also can work in a counterbalance between the shoulder and the hip in walking steps. So they function where you walk with the opposite legs. And that is my video.